All right, so thank you all again for coming tonight. My name is Jenna Wells. I am the coordinator for the Ohio Parent to Parent program, and I am one of the senior community engagement specialists for the Ohio Family to Family program. And we do a lot of family support. One of the ways that we provide family support is by offering these sessions. This particular session is our Journey into Adulthood booster session. But even if you do not have, if you have a younger loved one, if you have an older loved one, an aging loved one, you are more than welcome to be here because the stable account is wonderful for so many people. So it is a great program to have. So as you can see here, we're going to be talking about the stable account option to save money. And then just to tell you real briefly about the USAID is the University of Cincinnati Center for Excellence in Developmental Disabilities. We just say USAID for short because that's a very long name. But our vision is to see a society where all people, including individuals with disabilities and their families, belong and live healthy, safe, self-determined, and fulfilling lives within their communities. So we hope to see individuals with disabilities decide how they want to live their lives. So this is part of that. This does create some independence for folks. The stable account is a great way for them to save and be independent in their own finances as well. So, as you can see, the USAID has a lot of different aspects to it. We're kind of a complicated thing, but we're also a very thorough program, an organization that we do training, community collaboration. We work alongside a lot of different organizations across Ohio. We do research and policy. We write reflections and definitely keep track of what's going on in policy and visit with our legislators. And we also do that information sharing and resources piece. So we are dedicated to inclusion and respect for all. Our work is strengthened by diversity. And we support appreciation and respect within communities through our policies, resources, and actions. So we are excited to be here again tonight. And just real briefly about the Ohio Family to Family and Ohio Parent to Parent programs, because those are the two that are the programs that are offering this particular session. The Ohio Family to Family session or program is a one-on-one family support and services. We are family members ourselves with lived experience. We have loved ones in our family that have either a disability or special health care need. And so we also are living it right alongside all of you. We help with navigating healthcare systems and other services. We do these free trainings. We have access to community resources. And that moving into adulthood, that transition time is really important. And we get a lot of questions. So that is why we have a session monthly throughout this year solely based on the transition years. So. And then the Ohio Parent to Parent program is a short one-on-one peer support program. So we train caregivers that are interested in supporting their peers. So we would train them and then connect peers together that or family members together that have had similar experiences. It's really based on what the needs are and commonality of experiences. So we do our best to really connect people. And right now we're excited. We're growing parent to parent, and we are going to have liaisons across the state to make sure that people that are in more of the rural counties know about us and can get connected to some of their fellow caregivers. It always feels good to know others that are walking the same walk as us. We certainly want no parent to feel alone, so we are excited to get them connected to one another. So, okay. So that is all about our programs. I am going to stop sharing my screen, and Elena, you are welcome to share your screen.
Awesome. Thank you, Jenna. I am going to make sure this works again because I know we tested it. Give me one moment. All right. We'll do this slide, play from the beginning. Okay. Jenna, do you see that?
Yes, it looks
Perfect.
good.
It worked. Okay. Great. All right. Well, thank you so much, Jenna, for the introduction. We've been obviously connecting about this presentation for a while. But one thing that I wanted to learn more about the audience is, who would be in attendance and who would be impacted by this. So we love to be able to connect directly to those that are eligible. So whether that's the individual, the family, um, even guardians, providers, those that are, in that role where they can support someone with a disability or medical condition. This program fits so many different chapters of their life, different situations, different medical conditions, disabilities, and obviously the root of the program is all about finances and saving money and empowerment, which we'll talk about. So I love to know that there's, some representation from a lot of great groups around Ohio on the call. One of the biggest reasons that this program has grown so much in the last couple of years within Ohio, we are a national program, but we're administered by the Ohio Treasurer's Office. My travel and my connections are devoted to the state of Ohio, is just that grassroots community-based outreach. A lot of times we'll connect with groups and they might reference somebody or they'll, call us directly and say, hey, I have a family that wants to learn more. And I think that that is such a powerful reason that, all of us are so connected in our careers and our daily lives with that are supporting people. So this is a great opportunity for you to learn a little bit about the program. As Jenna mentioned, I believe she mentioned this, but the slides can be shared. So I want to make sure that you all have our contact information. Our program is, very busy with outreach and trainings and education, and we always want to make sure we're connecting directly with that family and the individual that's eligible to help them understand the program more. So tonight we're going to learn about the program's history, sort of the impact of why this program is so important for so many different types of people across the country. You'll also learn about eligibility, enrollments, management of funds, how to use your funds, and how this impacts so many different people as well. And I'm seeing a lot of things come in about admitted. So hopefully, Jenna, you can see that because I don't think I can click it. So, but then as Jenna mentioned, we definitely encourage Q&A. Sometimes folks in the past will have questions and they'll put it in the chat. And then the next slide, it's like we're about to answer it. So feel free to, think of some of those questions if you want to. We'll take some breaks throughout. I will say this probably won't go the full time that this is scheduled, which is okay because it's beautiful outside right now. And obviously, we want to make sure we're a resource with all of you moving forward as well. So we'll get started. All right. So I love to be in person with folks. I know Zoom is just kind of the way that it is now and it works, and we can obviously connect this way as well. I'd rather be in person to usually do like a nice little poll within the community of or the room of who has a stable account, who's heard of a stable account. So if you are on the call and you currently have a stable account, that is amazing. That's awesome. We have so many amazing updates to the program. We've put a lot of great work back into the program, and we are the largest ABLE plan across the country. For those that don't have a stable account, or maybe you've heard about ABLE accounts, maybe you've heard about stable account in the last couple of years, this is another great way you can learn about the program as well. But for those that maybe have heard about what ABLE accounts are, I love to just share the story of sort of how this program came to be. So over 10 years ago, actually longer than that, there was grassroots efforts within the disability community that came together and wanted to work to make a change to some of the current restrictions surrounding benefits, Medicaid, SSI, SSDI. Individuals with disabilities that receive those means tested benefits, which are very common, all of us, probably are familiar with Medicaid, SSI, SSDI. Individuals that are on those benefits have to be very restrictive and careful about how much is in their personal bank accounts or their estate or their savings. That is a rule that's been around for a very long time. The agencies that administer those benefits create those rules. So, a long time ago, over 10 years ago, the disability community came together and said, what can we do to change this? Well, the idea came to be that we could create these ABLE accounts, ABLE plans across the country. So, in general, just for your knowledge, if you're Googling stable and you see the word ABLE, or you Google ABLE account and another plan comes up on the results, just know that in general, ABLE accounts across the country are savings and investment accounts to help people with disabilities and medical conditions save and invest their money. The biggest impact of that program, our program, is the fact that every contribution into the account, all of the funds in that account are completely protected against the possibility that you would lose your eligibility for SSI, SSDI, or Medicaid. Because if you're on those benefits, anyone on the call knows there are restrictions. So the whole purpose of ABLE accounts are that they're this protected place where the money can grow. The other biggest impact of this program is that it was always about the account holder in mind. There are a lot of people across our state, across the country, that have disabilities and medical conditions, and they rely on those benefits and they need to be on those benefits, but they want to work. They want to have their own savings account. They want to have a place where they can have a long-term savings account option. But if they're on those benefits, then they might be subject to losing those benefits based on going over certain resource limits. So that is why this program is so important. We know a lot of people that have disabilities and conditions that aren't on benefits that have stable accounts as well. But across the country, there's a ton of different ABLE plans. Most states have their own ABLE plan. Stable account obviously is Ohio's ABLE plan. And we were the first state to create an ABLE program back in 2016. So we are about to have our 10th anniversary, which is awesome. We are a national plan. I think I actually have the updated, well, it's not that updated. I might get to the next slide, but we do have account holders in every single state, which is really, really cool to say. We also have 11 partner states as well. And I don't know if it's on the next slide. I might have taken that map out, but we have a great visual map that just shows all the account holders in different states, which is really cool to see. Like I said, there are other ABLE plans across the country. They all abide by the same contribution limit rules. They are overseen by the IRS. So there are some kind of comparisons, which we'll talk about sort of why Stable Account is the leading ABLE plan across the country, why we're growing so fast. But I just love to mention kind of the story of ABLE as well. Jenny Cunningham, who is on our advisory board, she actually was one of the many people that went down to DC in 2013, 2014, and got to testify and make a case for why ABLE accounts should be created. So ABLE stands for Achieving a Better Life Experience, which is sort of how we created our program's name. So the benefits of stable account and ABLE accounts across the country are, of course, all about the ownership. So as I mentioned, we know a lot of account holders that have disabilities, medical conditions, and they're able to open the account themselves. They would go to our website, they would be able to enroll on their own, and they're able to make contributions themselves as well. But of course, we know a lot of individuals that aren't able to manage their finances or their estate. They can't make those types of decisions for themselves. And we work closely with a lot of organizations in Ohio that are they're called authorized legal representatives. So they can actually open accounts on behalf of people that are eligible. And then, of course, we know the best type of support are those family members, those parents, those guardians, those grandparents. And so when we're connecting with those families and we know that, having children, every chapter is a new chapter and kind of you're thinking about the next thing. One thing that we love to say is that stable account can impact and help any chapter of your child's life because it's all about finances. It's all about having that safety net and that savings account. So it's giving that peace of mind to have this protected place, especially if that person ends up being on Medicaid, SSI, SSDI down the road as well. The other big impact of the program is the financial independence. So if somebody is receiving SSI, which is through the federal government, it is not through the treasurer's office, it would be through the Social Security Administration. That's a whole different process. They have a whole enrollment, eligibility, online management process to receive those benefits. But if you do receive SSI, you cannot have more than $2,000 at any time in your bank account. You could be subject to losing your eligibility for other types of benefits. And then if you are working, then you have to be really careful of how many hours you're working. Are you full-time? Are you part-time? You can't have a 401k because you could lose those types of benefits. Medicaid has other types of restrictions and rules as well. I'm not going to talk too much about benefits tonight just because that's not through our office. But if anyone does have questions about benefits, please reach out to us. We know a lot of great counselors and support systems throughout the state that know all about Medicaid and SSI rules as well. So going through back to sort of the impact of the program, this is a financial tool. This is not just a typical checking savings account. It's got a lot of other great features, which is, the reason that we're always trying to make ABLE be the premier financial resource for people, not just people with disabilities or medical conditions, to ensure that their family members and guardians are aware of that as well. So anybody can contribute into an established stable account. We have a gifting feature. So if I have a stable account and it's my birthday or I'm receiving some type of great inheritance or gift from a family member, so they can actually set up a transfer of money. It's sort of like a GoFundMe. You would like share the link. But that's another great way that anybody can contribute into someone's stable account. Additionally, a lot of people know what 529 college savings plans are. They're administered through Ohio Tuition Trust, and every state has their own college savings plan. So if you've set up a 529 college savings plan for your loved one, and down the road you feel that education is not the right direct path for your child or your loved one, you can transfer up to $20,000 this year into an established stable account. So that would be for the beneficiary who is eligible for a stable account. That $20,000 is the general contribution amount for all ABLE plans across the country for this year, for 2026. We will talk about the other contribution limits as well. The third piece of a financial wellness or empowerment tool that we also love to mention are special needs trusts and pooled trusts. Those are really great collaborative resources that can be used with stable account. You can have a special needs trust. You can also have a stable account. You can have a pooled trust and have a stable account as well. We do some joint presentations with special needs trust attorneys across Ohio. We recently did the Ohio Bar Association hosted us, and we did a CLE course with estate planners. So it's a really important resource that a lot of professionals want to know about and understand so that they can intertwine it into other types of resources to support different types of savings goals. So like I said, I mean, I am not a special needs trust attorney. I'm not an attorney, but I'm familiar with sort of the reason why families might have a trust set up for their loved one for more larger expenses or long-term savings. But you can take money out of a trust and put it into a stable account for more flexible spending, which we see all the time, which is awesome. Another big advantage of stable accounts and ABLE accounts across the country is that earnings grow tax-free. So anytime you make a contribution and you decide that you want to start investing that money through our investment portal and those earnings will grow tax-free over time, you don't pay taxes on those earnings. Additionally, anytime you want to access the account and use that money, you must use it on a qualified expense, which we'll talk about, but there are no tax penalties or tax fees to access the money. It is a very efficient way that a lot of our account holders are accessing their money, saving their money. In fact, there are a lot of our account holders that this is their only tax vehicle. They're putting money in from their paycheck. Mom and dad are helping out, and they're able to use the money on day-to-day expenses, which really makes it great for flexibility. On the flip side of that, we also know that there's a lot of family members who are also using this account for long-term savings as well. Like I said, we know a lot of great special needs trust attorneys across Ohio. If you want more information about that, we can obviously reference you, but we try not to speak too much to that. But just to kind of recap that, just for long-term planning, special needs trust and pooled trust are a great resource to help with long-term goals and short-term goals as well. All right, so I am
Can
going.
there's
Oh,
a
yeah,
couple great questions. Can we jump in and get to
yeah.
those real quickly? There's one question that asks, can a stable account be opened by a representative payee?
Yes, I am. That is a great question. I actually, in the next two slides, will talk all about enrollment and then management of the accounts.
Okay.
Yep.
Perfect. And then there is a question here from someone on an iPhone, and she says, my child will be 18 in October and will qualify for SSDI and Medicaid. Should I wait until they turn 18 to open this? We will be getting full medical and financial guardianship.
You do not have to wait for the individual to be 18 to open the account on their behalf. The if you opened it for them while they're under the age of 18, and then when they turn 18, if they're able to take over the account, then we would do a transfer of account. But it sounds like you would still be managing their estate in that case. So you can open the account at any time, even if you're not making, weekly contributions or annual contributions, you can open the account at any time. And being the parent, you obviously have that jurisdiction to be that person's ALR, which we'll talk about on the enrollment page.
Thank you.
Yep. Awesome. Is that all good so far? I can't see the queue. I knew this was going to happen. I can't see the chat.
Yeah, that's okay. I'll just jump in and stop you real quick if there's a
Yeah.
couple, but that's all that's there for right now.
Okay, perfect. Yes. I know sometimes the questions will be like the next slide. So these questions are great. But yes, just stop me at any time, but that was a great place to stop. So, okay. So who is eligible to have a stable account? So, like I said, we are, a lot of ABLE plans are different in terms of what their product look like, their website looks like. But across the country, ABLE accounts abide by eligibility enrollment and contribution limit rules. So across the country, enrolling in any type of ABLE plan, the individual must have developed their disability before they turned 46. So a couple months ago, that age was 26. So it now has increased to 46, which has we're busy. We got a lot of groups that are reaching out about this new change, which is amazing. So that means that somebody must have either been born with a disability, was diagnosed. We use the word onset a lot, and also even medical conditions, accidents. We're also working with disabled veterans. And that's going to allow a lot more people to be eligible as well. A great example of this is a lot of times people that have medical conditions, cancer, MS, other types of short-term or unfortunately long-term disabilities, they're diagnosed at an early age where they have those conditions for a long time. And in that time, they might be on short-term disability. They might be on Medicaid. They might be then eligible for those benefits. And then if they're on those benefits, then they obviously have to abide by certain restrictions. So we're really excited to be able to sort of enhance our messaging. We're 10 years, this program's been around for 10 years, and sometimes we feel that people might think that, oh, stable account, able accounts, that's for people with severe disabilities, or they're on Medicaid and they've got to have this program. We see that a lot. We do, and we know that there's that importance behind that. If people that are on those benefits and they're trying to work and they didn't know they could work and make more, it's like that's why we do our outreach and we're so passionate about it. But then on the other side of that, we do know there's people that are not on benefits. They could be, but they have a disability or a medical condition for the short term, and they can use this account for the tax benefits. they can treat this account as a long-term savings option. We don't encourage the use of the word retirement account, but obviously long-term savings account could definitely supplement some other resources as well. So that's the first piece for eligibility. We do have a quiz on our website as well. And then the second piece is, does that disability also make you eligible for benefits? So we do not, as I mentioned, we do not administer benefits like SSI or SSDI, but we do have a website, a list to the Social Security Administration's list of compassion allowances conditions on our website. So if you're wondering, am I eligible for benefits? You obviously can check that website out and see if you are. We do not require any type of medical documentation to enroll in our program. It takes about 10 minutes to open an account. It will ask you a disability code. It's like a breakdown of like seven. It's most able plans have them. It's from the IRS. It's a disability code, a developmental, blind, deaf, cognitive. It's kind of a full list, and that's where you would select why you're eligible. But we don't require you to provide any documentation during that enrollment process. So those are the two reasons, or the two kind of big topics for how you can be eligible. So this is the slide that I was mentioning about enrollment. So obviously, we love to see the person that's eligible, the account holder, be able to go to our website, create the account on their own, make contributions. A lot of times, though, that's sometimes not possible. They might have a guardian, a rep payee, a parent, family member, or even an organization that's handling their estate and their care. They can also open Sable accounts, which is great, and we've made that process very efficient to support those types of dynamics as well. So this is sort of a short list of who can be an authorized legal representative. An ALR is what we call them. So it's in no particular order, but obviously we know that people that have the ability to appoint somebody. Sometimes that happens. Sometimes somebody might need a guardian, they can appoint somebody. And then, of course, in a lot of cases, if somebody is under the care of an organization or they have a rep payee, those individuals can also open Sable accounts. The person on the account, though, is the beneficiary. That is the person that is eligible. So if I have a daughter and she's 25 years old and she's moving into a group home or an ICF setting in Columbus, Ohio. I'm still her guardian. I'm her mother. I can handle her finances and I open the Sable account for her. Let's say that in 25 years, she is moving or lives in the same group home. That group home can actually set themselves up to be an authorized legal representative. We work, like I said earlier, we work with a lot of organizations in Ohio that devote their time and care to help people with disabilities and conditions in other capacities. And so a lot of those ALRs can also manage benefits on behalf of the person living in their care. So we've done a lot of outreach to those organizational ALRs as well. And we also, yeah, perfect. So also we do encourage the online enrollment. We do not have any physical locations to open the accounts or excuse me, I told Jenna this earlier. I'm experiencing the spring weather of like allergies, and so I feel like my throat is I'm like gonna cough at any time. But we do encourage online enrollment. It takes, I've sat with people before, I've helped people open accounts. If you have all your right information, it can take less than 10 minutes to open an account, which is pretty great. So during enrollment, it will ask you, so if you were opening the account for yourself, it will ask you, your name, date of birth, social security number. It will basically verify your identity. In the event that it cannot pull records from the typical verification, it might ask you additional documentation that need to be sent in. We also encourage you to know a bank account because it does require a $25 minimum opening deposit to get the account going. That is our national enrollment process. So at the end of enrollment, you will have to link a bank account to get the account going. That's where you can make that first deposit of at least $25. I've seen people deposit more, but as soon as you make that $25 deposit, you get the $25 back the next month. So we launched a national enrollment incentive in January to celebrate the able age adjustment going up to 46. And as I mentioned, we're a national plan. We're the only plan in the country that's able to match the money. And there are some times where people say, oh, I'd love to get the account going, but I don't have $25 right now, or at least I just can't budget it. So this is a way that we can give back to the program. And we're really, really proud of that. So that is something somewhat new to the program for anyone that opens a new account as well. Would this be a good time to take a break, Jenna? I don't, like I said, I can't see the chat coming in, but
Uh,
any good
I
feedback?
don't see any other questions right now. So, yeah, if anyone has any questions, feel free to put them in the chat. But as of right now, and I think the question, Ashley, about the represented payee, I think that was answered in this last little section here. But if you had further questions about that, let us know too. And then there was a question if there's a difference between the stable account and the able account. I know that was already covered too, but if you missed that or if you needed more information about that, then let us know.
Okay,
That's all though. Yeah.
perfect. Thank you. All right, so these are the newish contribution limits for the year. So as I mentioned, all ABLE plans abide by the same limits that the IRS gives to the programs. So they did increase about $1,000 to $1,500 from last year. They do go up a little bit each year. So for general contribution, it is $20,000. So if you open a stable account tomorrow, you can contribute up to $20,000 from any source. So that could be from your employment, that could be gifting, that could be from a transfer from a bank account at PNC or Huntington or an external bank account. It could also be a contribution from a special needs trust. So that's just general contribution, $20,000. So that is per year. It does go up a little bit each year, but it resets in January. So what we see sometimes is people will try to get their last amounts in December, and then a month later in January they'll plop in the full $20,000, which is great. Um, and then also, if the account holder, so the beneficiary on the account, if they are working, they can max out at $20,000. Plus, they can also add in an additional $15,650 of their wages. So that is a huge initiative because when ABLE accounts were created, the contribution limits were still relatively low 10 years ago than they are now. And then the Able to Work initiative was another piece of legislation that was passed. That allows people that want to work and can work to be able to protect their wages and their income a lot easier, which is awesome. So we have a great direct deposit initiative. You can actually log into your Sable account. You can link your bank account to your paycheck and have your direct deposit go into your Sable account. Um, Additionally, and I'll go to the next slide for this. This is kind of to the point of the Social Security rep payee. So there are a couple different ways you can fund your stable account. You can mail in a check. We do accept checks to the program. You can set up a payroll direct deposit. So as I mentioned, direct deposit through payroll. I work for the state. My paycheck is every 2 weeks. If I had a stable account or if my daughter had a stable account, I could actually have part of my paycheck go into my stable account or my daughter's stable account. We also are one of the very few ABLE plans that also worked with the Social Security Administration and set up Social Security Administration direct deposits. So folks that are on SSI, SSDI, I think this also captures survivor benefits, other types of benefits that are, direct deposited from the Social Security Administration. You can actually have that be directed into your Sable account. So if I receive SSI, and that's, I think, $950 a month, instead of it going to my bank account at my credit union, I could actually have it go into my Sable account. So that is a new feature that we launched about 2 years ago. And you can absolutely put SSI and SSDI funds into your Sable account. That is one of our biggest questions, and that is something that you can absolutely do. I mentioned our gifting feature at the beginning of the presentation. That is a really great option for families to quickly deposit money into their child's or loved one's Sable account. And then we also have an EFT transfer. So if you have a bank account at one bank and bank at another bank, or two bank accounts at the same bank, you know that those EFT transfers are the most efficient way to transfer money in. So you would basically get your stable account routing number, account number, provide it to whatever bank you're trying to transfer the funds into, and that's how you can transfer funds. And that's also how you can make your first deposit when you get the account started. All right. I'm going to move on to a slide that I try not to take too much time on, but I do want to just share this visual because, as I mentioned, we are a savings and investment plan. So the program does function a little bit like a checking account and a savings account where money can be deposited in and money can be taken out. But it's not so specific to how checking accounts work. So a lot of people will ask, well, is it just like a checking account? Can I still have a checking account? Yes, you can have as many bank accounts as you want to and a stable account. Um, but the power of stable account is that can also be used as an investment account, which is great. So once you make your first deposit into the account, actually, anytime you make a contribution into the account, you can choose from different investment options. The stable savings option right here in the gray is just our typical savings account. Just to share sort of some statistics, we have about 65% of all of our account holders have all of their funds into their stable savings option, which means that they have all of their money just in their savings option. It does have a pretty good return right now of about 4.1%, which is great for a savings account. But in the event that somebody is understanding investments, they might want to move some money around. We do have four different mutual funds that are through Vanguard. This is sort of a representation of the types of breakdown of the investments. And we also have a ton of information on our website about those investments as well. The reason why it's worth noting that this is a great feature for individuals that are, understanding investments, is because the earnings grow tax free, which is great. And then, different from a typical, Roth IRA or an investment account through Fidelity or a pension or other types of investments, to access that money, sometimes there are penalties and there are limits and things like that. So, of course, we know that there's a lot of account holders that are able to get earnings. They've been able to see their money grow over a 10-year span. We have close to over 10 accounts that have over $300,000 of a balance in their stable account, which is unbelievable. Especially because if you are on SSI or SSDI or Medicaid and you're trying to be below those certain resource limits, knowing that you can contribute thousands more every single year in your stable account and watching that grow and still keeping benefits is incredible. So this program has helped a lot of different people. So like I mentioned, being the treasurer's office, we do not give investment advice, but we've got a lot of great information on our website about the investment options as well. All right, any questions so far, Jenna?
There is actually a question. I think you covered the majority of it, but there is a great question here. So somebody is asking if dad wants to submit the $25 to open the account, then can his bank account be linked?
Yes.
So any bank accounts can be linked to the stable account.
Yes. Yep. Even if so, let's say dad is not the ALR. Let's say that's my dad. Let's say that I've got my stable account. I'm 25 years old and my dad wants to link his bank account to my stable account and make transfers. Absolutely, he can do that, even if he's not the ALR.
Okay. So, let me see. When opening the account, whose info do we use?
So if you are opening the account on behalf of the person that's eligible, the person opening the account will need to know their personal information to verify their account, to ensure that they can be on the account. Additionally, an ALR will need to provide their personal information. So if a guardian, representative payee, parent, to verify their identity as well. We do work with organizations across the state. We also are working with some state agencies where those organizations do not have to provide certain personal information. We're actually working to revise that process. But if you are not an organization and you're just an individual party opening the account on behalf of somebody else, you would also need to provide your information to verify your identity, very similar to how bank accounts verify your identity when you open new accounts.
Okay, great. And then there is a question here, does this account affect my income?
Great
So I'm
question.
assuming that this person would be holding the account.
Yes. Okay. Let me go back to the slide and we hold on one second. I'm realizing it's getting very dark in my home. I'm actually just going to open my curtain quickly. I'm gonna good. I'm
Yeah, no worries.
fixing. I was worried about the sun earlier, and then I'm like, wait, it just got really dark, and with that, I can't even see myself, so I don't know what that looks like. But hold on one second. Okay. Okay, I think that's probably better. Okay. Let me go back to the slide about the contributions. Okay. So, like I said, we try not to speak too much to benefits just because there are a lot of different types of Medicaid, SSI, SSDI rules. Medicaid has Medicaid buy-in, work programs, and Medicaid is very supportive of stable account, which is great. They are familiar with stable account. In fact, when you go to do your eligibility again for Medicaid, they will ask you about your balance of your stable account, even if you have $65,000 in your stable account, it does not impact your eligibility for Medicaid. The same with SSI, the same with SSDI. Um, the one thing that I will say is that if you are contributing money into your stable account within this $15,000, so let's say that up to 35,650 per year. Let's say that all of this is from your wages. That money is protected against losing your eligibility for Medicaid, but SSI and SSDI do have certain rules for if you are making certain, if you go over a certain income limit, then your monthly SSI depletes. So it's almost like a dollar per dollar, and there's like a chart, and I would encourage families to look at that. But if you are contributing to a stable account, that money is protected, but don't treat this $15,000 of, oh, well, SSI is going to ignore that. They're going to see if you work. They're going to see what did you make for that month or that year. So that's the one thing that we like to mention. So hopefully that helped with the question.
Okay, so yes, but the same person says, for example, when I apply for different assistances,
Mhm.
I have to include her income even though she has her own expenses. Yet because I manage her SSI, I have to include her income. Yet they don't include her expenses as mine. Hmm. We may need to get deeper on that one. So the person that is asking that question, I think I'm just going to get a little bit more information. And if at the end, if you don't mind unmuting, and then we can get more in depth with that, then that would be great. Um, Let me see here. There's another question here. We have a few different ones. Will you be covering details on gift contributions, which I think you did a little bit, such as physical cash or electronic fund transfers and how it is done? Need, for example, I need a contribution form or is it online? Do they have to give the person's stable account link to the person giving the gift?
Sure. I can address that now.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
I thought that question was going to be about the 2026 gift tax exemption. I thought, oh gosh, I don't have time to go for that right now. Please don't ask me that. There is information about that on our website though. When you log into your stable account, and I wish I could show you the portal. When you log into your stable account, there's a little box at the bottom of its gifting. So if I have a stable account, what I would do is I would click that, And that would be, I could email that, I could copy the link, but basically it would allow my mom or my dad to then they would get the link via email or the link shared. It's all electronic. The gifting is all electronic. I should mention that for this purpose. And then when you go to make the payment, obviously it's through like credit card, debit card, bank account, and then the money was then sent to my Sable account. So that's one option, one process. We also have on our website, we do have, I should mention this, we also have a paper enrollment process. So I am encouraging online enrollment, obviously on your phone, on your computer. We've got a great app as well, but we do have paper enrollment. So you would go to our website, you'd print off the pages. It's very lengthy, as I'm sure you can imagine. You'd mail those in. Our team, through Best Wall Seed Savings, would verify the process, and then they would reach out to then let you know that the account was created. Additionally, on our website, we do have paper contribution forms. So if you wanted to mail in a contribution with a check, it basically would break down, you would have to put in the personal information, the Sable account information as well. But we do encourage the online gifting feature because it's very simple and efficient. And then the EFT transfers, that can be done paper, but we also encourage to do it through the online portal as well.
Great, wonderful. There's a question related to that one. She says, or this person, I don't know, it's a she actually, the person is asking, and thank you, by the way, for all these great questions. They're asking, my links were to drop at 1 year. Should we annually relink them?
I don't
Didn't realize that you could set it to drop at 1 year.
your links.
Um,
The question was your links are due to drop after 1 year.
mhm.
I don't think I
And
know.
then or they're asking if they can annually relink them.
Relink, I don't know what that means.
I
Like,
think for gifting, I think it's the same gifting question.
okay. I am not sure about that. If you wanted to email me, I could look into that and see if there's an FAQ on our website about the linking. I didn't know that it was recurring like that. So I
That
can,
wasn't, I'm not either. So that's interesting. I'll be learning a little something here, about that too, but okay. Um, why don't we keep going? And
okay,
then we have some more questions, but we can answer some more in a little bit. Is that okay?
that's perfect. That's perfect. I will go back to perfect. So spending, and we are very close to the end too, so we're good on time. So spending from the account, like I said, we do encourage online usage. So we have a great app. Um, We have a great accessible portal. We've got a phenomenal call center that I'm always referencing folks to call. If you want to reach out to me or our team, we're a very small team in the treasurer's office, but if you do have specific questions or concerns or that question about the linking, we can help to do a lot. But we also utilize a call center, and we have the Bank of New York that works with Best Wall State Savings. So they handle all of the operations, the account information, the verification, the enrollment, that type of thing. So feel free to reach out to us though if you do have questions about the online enrollment, online management, because we want to make sure we can help out. But once you get your account going, you can transfer money out of the account into an external bank account. So if you've already linked a bank account to get the account going, you can transfer money in and you can transfer money out to the other bank account. And that obviously would be done online. We also have the paper forms on our website as well. We have a resources tab on our website that has all of the different paper forms that if you wanted to print out and mail those in. We do also issue checks. So if you've got rent due or a big bill, and you want to pay it from your Sable account, we would then issue you the check from that as well. And then, of course, we have one of the best features of the program. I mentioned earlier on the presentation that there's a lot of different ABLE plans across the country that are national. Not only do we have our enrollment incentive, our incredible website, accessible, friendly call center, we have a loadable debit card. And I feel like this is the best way that a lot of our community can use it for day-to-day expenses. Um, so it is not a typical debit card like you'd see at your checking account. It's loadable and it's a loadable prepaid type. So if I have $20,000 in my Sable account and I'm looking at the month of May and I say, oh, I've got this and this, I can transfer up, $500 to the debit card, $1,000 to the debit card. And then it takes about 3 to 5 days for the money to show up on the card. And then once the money is on the card, you could then use that in person. You can add it to an Amazon account. You can add it to Uber. You can swipe it in the stores. And then you can also, sometimes I've found that this is sometimes the case, but sometimes not. Sometimes when you go to pay online bills, like medical bills or your AEP bill, sometimes loadable cards aren't recognized. Sometimes they are, but this card is Visa, so it is recognized where anywhere Visa is accepted. So that's another great way that, you've got this account that's maybe got a small balance, big balance. It's external, it's there, it's protected, but you want to be able to access that money, especially if that account, stable account, has your wages going into it. So our debit card is such an efficient way that people can access their money at any time. It gives them that peace of mind that they can use it to support different types of expenses as well. Another great feature of the debit card is that a lot of parents or guardians that are managing finances for their child, whether they're 14 or 34, sometimes they kind of have to take over some things at times, or at least sort of teach them financial management. So on the back end of this, on your login, you can actually toggle different restrictions if you need to. So if you need to toggle, hey, I don't want this spent at Amazon, you can actually type in Amazon. You can also limit expenses, so don't go over $200 for the month of May. You get alerts, you get protections. But the best thing too is it's a great way to track your expenses. So we always like to just kind of bring it back to the fact that all of the money in the account, number one, has to be used and should be used on the person that's eligible. Fraud is everywhere. It's not just in our program, it is everywhere. We all know it. We see it. We get emails about it. We try to keep security. I'm sure all of us have experienced a not good situation where you're worried about your logins and your accounts. But with banking and financials, we are doing everything we can to protect our account holders in our program. So we've got our incredible fraud team with Bestwell. But in some cases, people that are managing accounts, stable accounts, bank accounts on behalf of others that are vulnerable, fraud is going to happen. So the rule is that the funds should always be used on the person that's eligible. So if you are managing an account on behalf of that person, the funds should be used for them. It should be used to improve their health, independence, or quality of life. That is sort of the broad terminology for qualified expenses. It's a very broad term for a reason because this program is all about the person with the condition, medical condition, disability. How are they going to use these funds to improve their life? How are they going to use these funds to improve their long-term savings and their long-term goals as well? So these are just some kind of big picture icons of what ABLE account funds should be used on. Basic living bills, education, legal fees, housing, rent. But let me go back to the debit card. The number one vendor that our debit card is spent at is, of course, Amazon. So that just shows that a lot of individuals are able to not only treat this program as a protected way where their money is saved and it can grow and then keep their benefits, but it's also a way that you can use it on really anything that's going to improve your life as well. Travel, vacations. We did a testimonial ambassador story at a warehouse, UCO Industries up by the Honda plant in Marysville. And a couple of their employees said, oh, I use my Sable account on vacations and travel and all those good things. So very, very broad terminology for a reason, which is great. Um, and then we also want to just kind of share some stories here. This is Nate. He is our ambassador. I usually play a video here, but I feel like this is the slide deck that I didn't have the link in. That's okay. We have a great ambassador video page on our website if you want to hear Nate's story. But Nate, and maybe there's people on the call that know Nate. We love Nate. Nate's great. He works at DODD. He lives in the Toledo area. I think he lives in Holland. And he has been, I think he was probably the fifth person in Ohio to open a stable account, which is great. So he's had it for a very long time, and he was able to save up and use part of his stable account funds on a wheelchair accessible van, which is in the background of that photo. So he is mobile. He's able to, work full time and just be part of the community that way. Um, I know a good family friend that their daughter, Ruthie, was born with a heart condition, and they opened an account for her when she was very small. Now she's 16 and she's driving and she's thinking about college, and they've never even touched the money. It's just there for her, and they're saving as much as they can for her when she leaves the house. So, we see a lot of different types of situations, but when you're ready to use those funds, just know that there's a lot of broad rules with it, which is great. Another great feature of why Stable Account is the best ABLE plan is that we are always thinking of ways to put back into the program. So in July, we actually passed legislation to lower our fees and actually cover the fees for Ohioans and our partner states. So we have 11 partner states. I'm not going to name all of them right now. I wish I had the map up. But if you live in one of our partner states, then you do not have any account fees. And then we also lowered our fees for all other residents in our other states. So we're the lowest national plan with the lowest account fees. And then on the on the right side, with investments, there are, of course, asset-based fees, very low cost to have a stable account. So not only do you get your $25 when you open the account, we eliminated fees for Ohioans. There are no fees for the debit card. We actually cover those fees as well. So very low fee program. And that is because we are always wanting to make sure that folks that are eligible wouldn't look at the fees and think they couldn't afford it, which is great. So that's another thing we did and put back into the program as well. I'm going to take a break here because the next slide is a bit of a lengthy one. And then I think we are close to the end. So did any?
Yes, we have some really good questions in here.
Okay.
So I'll try and go back here. Okay. None of my banks had heard of stable accounts. So this particular person just called the stable office for all of the help that she needed or they needed. Why do I keep saying she? I don't know if it's a she or he, but they. So they just called the stable office for all their help, which is a great tip because honestly, um, every time I have called, I just get so much support from those on the other end of the phone call. So it is a great way to go. Just call the stable office. It really does help.
That was a great plug for our call center. Thank you for putting that in the chat. We love our call.
And actually, as a story, and I can just briefly give my story because I have a son that is 16, and we opened the stable account as soon as we could as well. And we have been just adding to it. As of right now, he doesn't need it. But we are hoping when he gets into his adult years and is needing more funds, it's just wonderful that he will be able to have more control over that himself. And it's been amazing and fascinating and in so many positive ways seeing the stable account first of all come to fruition because it was an exciting time to see it even just open up and then to see all of the positive changes over the years and become more available and more accessible to more people. And it's just a wonderful, wonderful program. So I have utilized that for my son too. So just wanted to put that out there. Um, okay, so if I create a new account for my daughter, since she qualifies for SSDI at 18, will the new bank account information be able to be added to an existing ABLE account? Does that make sense to you?
So the new bank account information, does that mean like your SSDI direct deposit or like a bank account at like Huntington or PNC, like an external bank account?
It sounds like the SSDI knew like wherever she's getting her SSDI money, whatever bank account that's going into, can they then um add that to the existing ABLE account later?
Yes. So the way that that would work is now your daughter that's getting SSDI at 18. I don't know why she wouldn't be getting it now, and I don't necessarily need to know why. But if she's eligible to get benefits at 18, then it makes me think that she would be eligible to have a Sable account right now. So at any time, you could open the Sable account for her. And then as soon as that new SSDI direct deposit bank account, that information is provided to you, or however that monthly deposit will go into the bank account, you would then add it to your established Sable account. If I'm understanding that, if that's what that
Yes.
was about.
Yes. That's how I am interpreting that question too.
Okay.
And if we are wrong, then please let us know on that. Um, we have a question here by Ashley. How do you show the money is being used for disability related expenses?
Great question. So, we are also really trying to enhance our messaging about. So, historically, QDE, qualified disability expenses, is the technical terminology for the money. That's what the money should be used for. The sentence that the IRS always uses is it must impact, enhance the quality of life, health, independence, or quality of life. So it's very broad for a reason. We have never had anybody in any ABLE plan be audited. In the event that you were audited and for some reason you're going through your Sable account and there's a transaction and that was not used on a qualified disability expense, or we're trying to merge from qualified disability expense to just have it be qualified expense, then there would be a 10% penalty. Like I said, that's never happened, but we do encourage people to, obviously, if you have the debit card, that's the best way to get statements where you can see the line by line of where the card was used. If you are taking money out of the Sable account and transferring it to your bank account at PNC, and then using that money on whatever you're using, it's worth noting that you might want to keep receipts for that. Um, we also encourage our authorized legal representatives, our guardians, our rep payees, our, organizations to keep record of that as well. Anyone that has gone through the probate court, anyone that's a guardian knows that if you are a guardian for somebody that you already have to do that. So if you are opening a Sable account and using that money on behalf of the person you're managing, then you have to keep receipts anyways. And so we have account statements. You can get those quarterly access through your portal. You can see contributions, you can see spending, but in the event that you're making large purchases through an external bank from Sable funds, you might want to keep receipt of that. But we don't require any type of pre-authorization to access the funds either. Special needs trust and pooled trusts, you have to provide, hey, I need to pay my car bill. This is my car bill. Please give me the money. Whereas Sable account, you don't have to send anything in like that either. So that's another question we do get.
That's great to know. Okay. We have another question. Can they use the funds to buy a gift card that they want to give to someone as a Christmas present?
Oh, that's such a good question. Oh man. We get that a lot. If I'm out to eat, can I swipe my debit card and pay for both of us? We always just put it back to the account holder. if that's going to make you happy and that's something that you want to use your funds on, then obviously you can do that, but that's the choice of the account holder. It should always be used on the account holder though. So we just kind of put it back on. So we don't really say yes or no for different expenses. We just encourage those rules to be shared, especially since those rules are through the IRS, and then kind of leave it up to the account holder or the family to make those decisions. But we get that question a lot, and we just say, it's kind of up to the account holder.
Can you get a checkbook for the stable account?
You cannot get a physical checkbook, but we would issue you a check based on a payment. So, and that process is sort of a different type of process than like if you get like a checkbook from Huntington and then you have your own check. So, we do have information on our website, the paper forms that are associated with the check issue process.
What is the maximum amount you can open with? 20,000? Question mark.
Um, if you were opening the account on behalf of somebody else, it would be $20,000 for this year. But for I'll just go back because it's quickly to me for me to do this. But if I have $40,000 in my bank account and I want to open a stable account and a lot of that money is through my wages, you can obviously contribute a lot more. But that is only if the account holder, so the beneficiary is working, they can contribute that additional 15,650. So there's kind of two different tiers to that.
Okay. Randy, I hope that answered your question. Um, can you use this in Puerto Rico?
Um, yes. I've never gotten that question before. Yes, you can. In fact, I think Guam also has I think Guam just has created a stable an able plan. Um,
Wow.
yes, yep.
Wonderful. Okay.
Yeah.
Good to know. Um, we have a comment here. Is it, or a question, I guess. Is it not advised to get more than 20,000 a year added if family or friends were to gift and we've already added the max of the year?
Well, I think that depends on throughout the year when that would happen because the system will deny um, any contributions if you were already at $20,000. So the system just would not accept it.
Okay. So the max is 20 gifts in all.
Yes, yeah. 20,000
Okay.
is so that's just contributions for the year. So if I've got
Yeah.
$60,000 in my stable account and I've contributed nothing into my stable account in the last 3 months, at any time throughout this year or tomorrow, I can deposit up to $20,000. So those are just the contribution limits. But the balance for the whole program is $555,000. We have not had anybody hit that yet, but that is just the balance limit.
Is $555,000?
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. That, and I believe that that is the same balance limit for the college savings plan in Ohio. I'm pretty sure that's the same one, but
Actually, yes, that's correct. I knew that number because my oldest is I happened to ask that question when we were opening his 529 plan. Um so that is correct. Doesn't I don't understand the second part. And doesn't it get it now because we're over the income limit? Once she's 18, it will go off of her income.
yeah, that might be a question that can be emailed or, asked more in
Hmm.
depth over the phone at some point. Because I think we try not to get too in depth with questions about income and SSI just because I know that there's different types of um, tiers and different charts and different dynamics, but the whole purpose of mentioning the contribution limits with working is that even if you do receive SSI every month and you're trying to work, you're able to work. SSI has rules about how much you can work, but obviously having a stable account protects that money. Um, One thing I did not mention earlier about the balances is that if you do receive SSI and your ABLE account in any state, in any plan, your balance goes over $100,000, you could be subject to having your SSI suspended for the following month. They don't kick you off, they just suspend your benefits, thinking that you're going to bring that $100,000 balance down. Now, having a balance of $100,000 is pretty great. And so knowing that, oh, next month my benefits might be suspended for SSI, you do have time to make to spend out of that account. Medicaid does not have that rule. If you have $60,000, $100,000 in your in your stable account, you still receive your Medicaid benefits. So those are
Okay.
two rules that I did not mention earlier.
Okay, that's great information to know. What happens if the Visa card has a balance and the individual receives their SSI check and they're over the $2,000 monthly limit?
So, when you make a transfer out of your stable account to your debit card, your loadable debit card, that money is gone from your stable account. You're basically trading the money. You already basically have spent it out of your account. So whatever balance is left over after you transfer money to your debit card, that's what then would you would be looking at. So was that the question? I feel like there was a second part.
Yeah, it sounds like they're asking if they're over the $2,000 monthly limit. There's no monthly limit on the $2,000 on the stable account or
No, no.
in the Visa card or in the card that they in the stable card, right? There's
Oh,
no.
no, no, that I think so. That might have been so you can't have more than $2,000 at any time in your personal bank account if you're on SSI.
Mhm.
You will have your SSI funds would be subject to suspension if your personal bank account, your estate has more than $2,000. Having a stable account doesn't impact that. SSI
Okay.
doesn't. Yeah. I think you can contribute. Oh gosh, I think the number went up a little bit. I want to say you can contribute up to $10,000 to your loadable debit card for stable. I think you can.
Okay.
So I know it went up. I know it just changed, but yeah.
What happens if the stable account reaches $100,000? Can the individual still make deposits to the account?
Yes, they absolutely can. In fact, I mentioned this earlier. We have in Ohio, we have um, over 10 accounts that have over $300,000. The only time I mentioned the SSI, I'm sorry, the balance of $100,000 is that if somebody is receiving SSI and their stable account has $100,000 in it, they could be subject to having their SSI suspended for the following month. Social Security Administration, it's their role, has nothing to do with our program. They just say, if your balance is $100,000, we're going to probably suspend your benefits, the monthly benefits for the following month. As soon as you bring the balance down, your benefits will be reinstated.
Okay. Is there a transaction report for debit card transactions that could suffice for the receipt needed by the IRS if audited? It
Yes.
would need to be detailed.
Yes. So obviously I'm sure most people have a debit card. So when you see your, online account information, you can see the line by line, and sometimes it'll just be like Speedway or like Kroger. So there are ways that you could go into our debit card, a loadable debit card, and there are more details. You also could go in and add in a detail to the transaction. But we do say that the statements are, in our opinion, a great way to just keep the record of the spending for either the quarter or the annual amount as well. If you are really concerned about it, you can keep receipts in support of your debit card usage as well if you need to.
So we've covered almost all of them. There's a couple of a little bit more detailed questions. So I was thinking maybe you can finish out your presentation and then we can open for some final questions at the end. How does that sound?
Yeah, that works great. I know we have a hard stop at 8, so I do want to be a resource to anyone that might have more like personal questions. You're more than welcome to reach out to me. Jenna can share my email and then the slide deck as well. But I wanted to end on this slide, and I know this slide always it generates so many questions. So, like I said, please keep us in mind if you have concerns or questions. But another piece of legislation that we passed in July is that we were able to eliminate Medicaid estate recovery for the state of Ohio for our program. So we are the 21st state to create or to pass legislation. So that means that if somebody is receiving Medicaid while they have a stable account, while they're making contributions, and they pass away, Medicaid cannot make a claim on any funds in that stable account. As long as the funds are in that stable account and that's part of that person's estate, because that's what happens with a bank account, a stable account, a house, a car, all the things. It goes to the person's estate when someone passes away. Um, Stable accounts protected. So Medicaid cannot put a claim on that. That took us about a year and a half to get support and pass. We feel it is huge. And we're really, really proud of it. So that is one piece I wanted to share because we get a lot of questions about, well, I opened this account for my child. I'm not going to be here forever, and someone else is going to take over the account, or a sibling will, or what happens to this money? So that's one piece we wanted to share is that Medicaid cannot put a claim on the person's stable account. So then what happens to the money? Well, the person that is taking over the estate, the estate administrator, obviously you would go through the probate court for that, the estate executor. They can go into the stable account. They can use the funds on funeral expenses, hospice. They can pay for outstanding bills. They can take care of the estate. Then they would notify our program to basically get access. Well, that would happen first. And then after, they've closed the account, we would obviously want to make sure that no more deposits could be made into it. Um, Anyone that's gone through the probate court knows that it is a lengthy process. Sometimes, family members will have wills, but it will go through the normal probate court process as determined by instructions in the will because it would go to that person's estate. Um, as successor designated beneficiary for the program, the only part right now so far, we haven't looked into enhancing this or changing legislation currently. But if you currently have a stable account set up right now, the only way that you can add a successor designated beneficiary to the program, to the account, is if the person is also eligible and they are a sibling, a step sibling, or half sibling of the person that has a stable account. That's a very specific type of qualification, as we know. It's not as similar as going to Huntington and saying, "Hey, I want to add a beneficiary to my account when I pass away." The programs across the country are not set up like that at this time. But we're always thinking of ways to maybe enhance that because we do get a lot of questions about what happens if someone passes away. We also want to I just want to kind of close on this, and I don't want to spend too much time on this because every situation is so different. Some parents have a sibling that can take over when they pass away. Some people that have accounts have wills. They have, a process that they will go through. So it's very specific to the family and the dynamic. But I just wanted to share the Medicaid piece because that is a huge accomplishment. And that does change sort of how those funds are able to be used for different things as well. So I'm seeing a lot of questions come in. Like I said, I know we are a little close on time and we have a hard stop at 8. So I hope that I can answer some questions. But like I said, I just want to be a resource. I'm going to leave my email address up here as well. This is our program email address. Our website I love how I said, we're going to get out here early and we're like at the time. That's great. We got a lot of questions. It's awesome. I love it. But I'm here. I'm here for all of you. I want to be a resource. We love the Cincinnati area. We love our partners, our community partners, whatever all of you do to spread the word and advocate for stable helps us so much. I love helping people on the phone and I want to make sure that this program is easy to understand and it could be a little daunting to understand all of the rules and everything, especially if you're on benefits. So some of those more personal questions, you're more than welcome to reach out to me and we can, talk online or offline on the phone. And then, of course, our website has great videos, more resources, all the things. But I want to end on some good questions. And then hopefully all of you learned a lot and can remember Stable as a good resource to either your family or someone that you know. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Well, we have a couple of comments here. Randy said this was great. Thank you so much. And then someone else says this was so informative. I can't wait to watch the replay and absorb more. Yeah, I think we all need to watch it one more time just to make sure my kids haven't been the most cooperative tonight. But thank you for joining us anyway. Whoever made that comment, we appreciate it. I know I have 4 kids and I know that balancing them and juggling everything at the same time can be very difficult. So we appreciate you being here. And then there's a question, it says, does that include money that is on the Visa card, or would the money go back into Vestwell? So I'm assuming that's that last slide that you were showing.
Yeah, um well, the person that would then it would be part of that estate. Yeah. So even though the money is on the debit card, it's still linked to the stable account. And then that person then could use, the money that way. So yes, good question.
Yeah, yeah, that's a good question. Great. And I know we had, does anyone want to unmute and ask their question? Um, just try and keep it a broad question, please, because I know that there's a lot of personal
Uh,
situations.
yes, I have a
Yeah.
question on the auto pay things that she has coming from her account. Does the
Okay.
stable does the stable account allow for the auto pays for the stuff like her rent and things like that?
Like setting up recurring payments.
Yes, yes. It's the
Okay.
reoccurring.
So we do have recurring payments from bank accounts. At this time, we don't have recurring spending where you can set up auto pay at this time, but we are looking into that.
Okay, so then the best way to handle that would be like if I did her Social Security or SDD, whatever it's called, and I made it go into the stable account. And then you mentioned that it can be sent, it has a card, right? I think you said it has a card. We have a spending card. Can
Yes.
that, I wonder, can that spending card is used just like a Visa, correct?
It can be, yes. So then basically what you would do is if there's a process to basically put in like the debit card information,
Mm-hmm.
numbers, expiration date, security code, like that's how you would be able to make those payments. But
Okay.
you currently don't have recurring spending payments, if that makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And I know we've got about a couple minutes left, so I just wanted to oh, this you see my slide. That's right. Share that.
Oh, did somebody have a question?
Yes, I do. You're referring to the recurring spending payments. Now, I know that our son he wants Disney Plus, so we use his card numbers with his Disney Plus account, and it pays it every month right out of that Visa card.
Oh, okay. Um, Interesting. Okay, and that might have been a new enhancement. I'm just not sure how that is set up. That would be all be done online, but there are some certain restrictions on. Um, I'd have to look into that. But yes, there's probably information on our website about that.
Okay, I just didn't know if that was just something different you were talking about in general.
Okay. Yeah, I think I might be a little confused on what that is.
I have a question. You had mentioned that the account would always be in the name of the beneficiary, even if the Social Security payments were being deposited. If the beneficiary has a representative payee, does that person need to be named within like the title of the account like they do if they have a checking account at another bank?
Um, so so if the rep payee has a bank account where like the SSI money is going into, is that in that rep payee's name or is it in the beneficiary's name?
It has to say something to the effect of like um, the rep payee's name, a rep payee for, and then the beneficiary's name. So it doesn't just have like a single name on it. So can this just have a single name on it and still be utilized for the beneficiary by the rep payee?
Yes. So when the rep payee would go to open, let's say the rep payee is opening the account on behalf of the person that is eligible, the beneficiary can only have that person's name on it. The rep payee, the ALR, they would be basically on the account as the ALR. They would have the login, they would have authorization, but the bank account, the beneficiary account itself would only have the eligible account holder's name on it.
Did that answer your question?
Yeah, I understand what she's saying. I guess I'm just trying to figure out if that works for Social Security since they do have that requirement of having the rep payee's name as well. But I also could ask them if that would be something that was workable.
Yeah, I think they should understand that. We also anyone that works in the rep payee space, they abide by the Social Security Administration has a document, the PALMS, like PALMS document, where it's like updates about how to utilize ABLE accounts and benefits. So there are certain rules that they abide by. But yeah, we work with a lot of rep payees and a lot of organizations that employ rep payees that are managing multiple stable accounts as well. So there are different efficient ways that you can, link that. So,
Okay, great. Thank you.
of course, yep.
Well, thank you so much, Alina. We really appreciate you being here with us tonight and helping us understand more about the stable account. Thank you, everyone else, for joining us. What a great discussion! So much rich information. It was a wonderful night. I really appreciate it. If you can fill out that survey, I would just greatly appreciate that. It helps us out. We have grants, so we need the information for those grants to keep us going. Um, but have a great night, everyone. I appreciate it. See you later.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Thanks.
Thank you.
You're welcome.